What's going on, guys? So today I'm going to be sharing a personal story of mine. It was 2 days after Christmas. I started feeling really bad, you know. Me and Saeed obviously had a little room together, his room, where we stayed at, and we were just kind of chilling, watching movies after, you know, we had gotten the Christmas gifts and everything. We were watching a movie, and I just started feeling like these really bad pains, and I was like, oh my God, like I really feel bad. A couple of days before that, I did get a high fever too.
And not only that, but not to get personal, but she was having diarrhea, and that was a sign of what was. And that was a sign. It was a symptom of what was to come.
Of what was to come. So I had these really bad pains, and you know, of course, I didn't know those were contractions. But it got so bad to where, you know, we called Saeed's mom in, and she was like, "Oh, pull your feet up," and she was praying. She was like, "Oh my God, it's 2 months before you have to give birth. Let's hope that you're not in labor." And I would put my feet up, and I'll pray and everything. I'll be like, "I hope this is, you know, this is not it." And the pain just started getting really bad, and I was just like, I could take it. Like, I don't know why I had that mindset that I was like, I need to take this pain, which obviously it was pain. And when you're in pain and you're pregnant, you have to go to the doctor. I was like, oh no, I can take it.
A couple days passed like that, right? Like 2-3 days.
No,
you being in pain, and
no. It was the next day. The next day, I woke up. Remember, I fell asleep holding your hand.
And she was like, "I'm bleeding."
I fell asleep holding his hand, and I don't even remember falling asleep. That's how bad the pain was, like progressing over, like through the night. And I remember holding his hand and squeezing it, and out of nowhere, like I just opened my eyes, and this morning, and I'm like, oh shit, like is the pain gone? And no, I still have the pain. So I go to the restroom, and I see some blood or whatever, and
now we're freaking out because like she's nowhere near time to have the baby.
I was due February 26th of 2011, and
this was barely hitting January. It wasn't even January yet.
It was 2 days after Christmas when this happened. This was now what, like the 3rd day after Christmas, or a little bit after Christmas, and I went to the restroom. I discovered I had some blood, and I was freaking out, and like my first thought was like, oh my God, is the baby moving? I haven't felt the baby moving. Oh my God, I'm freaking out, panicking. So I was like, should I go to the hospital? The doctors had told me that if something like that happens, to call them, and they're like, oh, we need you to come in to get checked. So of course, you know, pull out my pants, I'm still kind of bleeding, and they told me to drink some water, cold water, to try to wake the baby up, and that's what I did, and no movement at all. We went to the hospital. They put the little things on me to monitor the baby's heartbeat and stuff, and they did find that I was having contractions. So they took me into a room, and they didn't say nothing. And the lady was just like, lay back, take off your pants, we're gonna check you.
But like, the look on her face could tell us that something was going on that wasn't good.
They didn't say nothing. They didn't say nothing to me. They were just like, let's go into this room, we gotta check you. So I laid back, and they stuck those plastic things that they stick in you to see how much you're dilated or something, or to open up your vagina or something. So she swabbed, but as she was swabbing, she noticed that I was bleeding a lot, like a lot of blood was coming out, and she was like, oh my gosh, like she started freaking out. Like the nurse that was helping her was just like she was just frozen, and I was like, oh my God, like am I losing my baby? Like that's what I thought. And she was like, are you gonna go into an ambulance? Are you gonna go to the hospital? Like she didn't even tell me what was going on. She was like, you're 4 centimeters dilated, honey, you need it. She's like, you're in labor. She's like, you need to go to the hospital. And of course I was shaking, and
it was all bad.
For some reason we said no to the ambulance. We were like, we'll drive there. We got to the hospital. You rolled me in a wheelchair. We went in, and they automatically put me in a gown and stuff, and it was the start to the worst experience of my life. I was going to preterm labor, and that I had all the symptoms of it, and basically what they were trying to do was keep me from having the baby
as long as possible. So they started doing steroid shots and all this.
They gave me the steroid shots for her lung in case she was to come early. Her lungs would be fully developed. I got about like 4 shots of it. I think I had one on this side, then one on my back, and somewhere else. I don't even remember. But it was the worst. It was the worst thing that I've ever experienced. Like it was bad. It was shots and like around my stomach area and stuff.
This was all before New Year's too. So yeah. This was 2010, December 2010, between Christmas and New Year's. This was all happening between those few days.
And started my staying there in bed while I was getting checked for my blood pressure. They were checking my urine. They were supposed to be checking my urine for any protein,
but they didn't.
But they weren't. So sadly, they missed the fact that I was actually like approaching a really bad
at the time you were having preeclampsia.
I was having preeclampsia.
The whole time, everything that was happening was.
But we didn't know that. We didn't know that at the time. We didn't know that. So basically, from the time that I went into the hospital, I was having contractions the whole entire time, off and on. My mom noticed that I was having a bunch of headaches. Remember, my mom noticed that I was having headaches, and she was like, why is her blood pressure so high? And they were like, oh, well, it might be because of the cuff. It's too big for her hand. Let's get a smaller one. So they did a small one, and it still didn't change. My mom's like, I'm concerned. Like, there's something going on. There's no reason why her blood pressure should be high. And she's having these bad headaches, which the headaches I don't remember. I remember telling my mom, and I remember my mom talking about it to the nurse. Fast forward, and you know, it's time for me to give birth. Like, they had moved me out of the labor room the day before I actually gave birth. They took me into another little room because they were like basically saying, you know, she's holding off. She needs to at least hold off until 34 weeks. That would be the best thing. So I had just hit 34 weeks. They moved me out of the room. They were thinking I was gonna be a little while longer. Of course, that night I had went up to like 7 centimeters, and I was just feeling pain. So they moved me back to the labor room. They checked me quite a few times. My water ended up breaking on the bed, I feel like, or leaking. I don't know what it was, because it was something. My mom was like, oh, I think that's her water. So this doctor that I really liked, this lady, she came in there and she was kind of like helping me. She was like, oh yeah, we need to go take you into the labor room, like, you're ready. Or I was already in the labor room, or did they move me to another one? I don't remember. Anyways, I got prepped for, you know, having the baby and everything, and I can't really remember the whole experience when I was up to that point, because
we was in the delivery room. My mom and her mom was in there, and Lex was just getting ready, you know, waiting for the baby to, you know, get closer to coming out. And I mean, from when it really actually started happening for her giving birth to our daughter Genesis, it was fast. Like, it happened quick.
It happened like 3 pushes.
And it was nothing too bad.
They told me that we weren't gonna be able to see her, and I wasn't gonna be able to hold her. So
but they did.
But they let me touch her. They didn't let me hold her. They let me touch her hand.
Yeah,
and they took her to the NICU. He cut the umbilical cord. We got to see her little turtle face, and then they took her to the NICU right after to get checked, which unfortunately,
because she was a premature baby, and she had
the worst thing ever. But luckily she pulled through. She was really strong.
Very strong.
She didn't have no downs. There was never downs. She was only in there for like a week. But before all that,
she just, from all the little, I guess, stages that they look for a preterm baby, she was advancing so rapidly, even though she was so small.
I remember getting up from my bed, and it was time for, you know, me to clean myself and stuff, and I don't know how, but I got up and I went to the restroom on my own. You helped me. You were like, oh, let me help you. And I was like, no, like, I don't want you in the restroom with me. And you were like, I just saw you give birth. Like,
it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. So I had those little water bottles that they give you at the hospital, and basically, you know, he was helping me clean myself and stuff. And I remember reaching for the toilet paper, and I remember blacking out. I remember him in my face saying, like, Lex, are you okay? So I got tucked in, and I remember that he was telling me that he was gonna go get
something
Snickers
from the
bar.
cafeteria.
It was a Snickers bar.
I was gonna go get something from the cafeteria and go check on the baby.
You hear his side of the story, because I don't know anything after that.
So I come back, and when I had left, the room was all dark because she was going to try to get some rest or go to sleep or whatever, because she had just given birth. And as soon as I saw the light, I had this feeling like something's wrong. You know, the light shouldn't be on right now. Because it was your room. I was in the hallway. I was walking towards the room. The room was over here, and I could see the light turned on. And they don't turn that light on, because even when the nurses come check you, they just turn the dimmer light. So the whole room was lit up, and I already thinking something's wrong. the doctor's there, the nurse is there, and I go in and I ask them, is everything okay? They didn't say nothing to me, and then I ask again, what's wrong? This time I'm already freaking out because Lex didn't answer me, so there's something going on.
What was I doing?
They tell me she's not cooperating with us. I'm freaking out at this point because, you know, there's something wrong. I look at Lexus and I ask her, you know, what's wrong? You alright? And you were talking like gibberish, and then you didn't start making sense. She just starts she goes into a full seizure, like bad.
Right at that time?
Yeah, like bad. And that's when the nurse and the doctor, you know, freak out and start calling people, and everybody rushes to her room, all the doctors, and I'm freaking the fuck out. I'm cussing out at everybody like, what the fuck is going on? You guys didn't catch nothing, it's your guys' fault. And they told me to calm down or I was gonna get kicked out of the room. I'm like, no, I'm gonna stay here. I'm yelling at this point, like I'm mad and afraid, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna calm down. I need to stay by her side. I can't leave her. And that's when I grabbed the phone. I'm like, okay, I gotta call somebody. I call your mom's phone, but she didn't answer. And then I call your house phone, and that one dude answered. And I'm like, I explained to him what was going on. I guess they were on their way. And then I called my parents, and then they were on the way.
What was happening with me? Like,
you were just having seizures. She had multiple seizures back to back, and what do they call them? Grand mal seizures. She had like 4 in a row. I'm like, she's about to die. I'm about to lose her. Took her to the ICU, which is the intensive care unit, and that's, you know, it's bad because when you're there, it's like you're in a life-threatening situation. Finally, someone comes and tells us what's going on. They told us it was a neurologist because there was something going on with her brain, obviously, because she was having seizures, and they were like, so she's in I don't know if it was a medical-induced coma, but she was in a coma, and they were telling us right now it's really 50-50 whether she's gonna come out of it normal. And I'm like, what the fuck? How does somebody go from being 100% okay in a few hours, them telling you she might be the same, she might not? And then I remember going into the room to see her in the ICU. From the entrance, you can see in, you can see the whole thing, and I could see Lex, and I saw she was like sitting up. They had her sitting up, and her eyes was just like all over the place. They were not even coordinated, and I just turned away, and I started crying. I was like, what's going on? You know, finally the doctors told us what it was: Preeclampsia that turned into Eclampsia. And
they didn't catch it.
They didn't check nothing.
They were dumping my urine. They didn't pay attention to my high blood pressure.
And it could all have been prevented if the proper measures were taken by the medical staff at the hospital, but it wasn't.
I would wake up on and off. At this point, I remember opening my eyes and seeing a lot of family members around in my bed, and I would want so badly to talk to them, but I would just see like blurriness, and I remember like tears would come out of my face, but I couldn't talk and I couldn't move.
Because they had a breathing tube down her throat and everything.
But I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
They had her restrained too, so she wouldn't come out and try to pull it out or anything like that. So
I don't know what happened to me because I was in a coma. But I do remember the day that I woke up on the 10th. I remember that I was able to fully wake up and look at everybody around me, and I knew what had happened to me. Like, I knew that I had given birth. I knew that something happened to me, but I don't know exactly what, and I didn't want to know. It was a lot. It was overwhelming, but I was just happy. Like, I didn't want to know what happened. I didn't want to know anything. I just wanted to get the hell out of there.
Right. We were all very happy that she had, you know, pulled out of it.
Genesis ended up going home with us a week after her stay at the hospital. It was a week after I had left. Hi, Ezra. She progressed, and we ended up taking her home, and she was the smallest baby. Thank you for
subscribe. And watch our videos, all of them, and show love and share and show love, spread the love, subscribe and subscribe.
Okay. Make sure you do subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification button so that when we do post more videos, you are aware and you can see what.
And we will be posting a lot more because right now we're in the
process of moving.
It is just very hectic right now. So once we get to our new spot, you know, we're gonna be trying to do this like on a weekly basis. So stay tuned and watch.
Make sure you guys subscribe.